What's your set? Where you from? What you bang? What you claim? Where you from? What's your name? What's your name? What's your set? Where you from? What you bang? What you claim? Where you from?
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story. We have Terrance Hodges with us. Terrance, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. How did you get involved into martial arts?
Well, so I started my professional athlete career in football. So I played a couple of years in the CFL, and I tore my Achilles getting ready to go back for another season, and I gained probably 75 pounds. I got up to like 320, and I walked into a gym just to lose some weight, and I walked into the right gym. I ended up fighting in like 6 months. So the process went really, really fast and really rushed. But yeah, I got into it really, really quickly. Yeah.
So you went in to lose weight so you can get back into football, and then you decided.
Well, I didn't. Football was done. Once you tear your Achilles, it's pretty much done for you football wise. So I was done with football. That chapter was over with in my life, and I wanted to continue to do something in athletic, and I was just coming to take a class just to lose some weight. And the Coach Cal saw me and was like, "Man, you can fight," and I ended up fighting in 6 months.
What team are you with?
I'm with American Top Team Atlanta. Douglas Lima, Diego Lima, Royan Jacau, Rafael Sancial. So a lot of high level guys.
And you've been focusing. When you went into the gym and they said you could fight, what did they want you to fight in?
They wanted me to do strictly MMA in the beginning because this is an MMA gym. We have Muay Thai. We have a Muay Thai class, but it wasn't the big thing here. So they wanted me to go towards MMA, and that's where I started at. I started in MMA.
All right. So when you started in MMA, what were the first things that they were teaching you? Because MMA is a combination of so many different types of.
The first thing we started in Jiu-Jitsu. So I got to a blue belt level in Jiu-Jitsu, and then I moved on to wrestling. My stand-up have always been pretty decent, but under my Muay Thai instructor, Coach Tubbs, man, it really took off and became my strong suit. Jiu-Jitsu is good, but I didn't take to it as well as I did stand-up.
And what about now? Have you incorporated it more?
Yes. Ever since my last loss in MMA, I fought Kamaru Usman's brother, Mo Usman, and he pretty much just took me down and laid on me, man. That's lit a fire on me. So I've been in jiu-jitsu and wrestling the entire time since then.
Okay. And you've been fighting in boxing as well?
Yes. So I have 2 boxing fights. I'm looking to get some more, probably like 2 or 3 before the end of the year over with. I'm in a sticky little contract right now with Lion Fights. I did sign with them, so anything that comes across, I have to ask them first. So we're looking to make some work.
Okay. And how did you get involved with Lion Fight?
I was bugging Scott Zier through email for probably like 2 or 3 years. I was just bugging him, man. Like, look, I need to get on. I'm excited. You need me on your card. And one day after COVID, they were looking to add people to the roster, and he reached out and told me he was gonna give me an opportunity. He signed me and another local fighter, heavyweight here, Warren Thompson. So he signed both of us, and we fought on there last I want to say March. Yeah, we fought in March.
And I'm sorry, the music is a little loud.
It is.
Where did you get your name from? Jefe?
Well, so growing up, I grew up in Macon, Georgia. So a place where it had a lot of mixed culture. So I grew up around a lot of Hispanic friends, and my other friends would call me Big Man. So in their language, they would call me Jefe. So it just kind of stuck, and it always been there. So every time, everybody always asks me that. They always ask me, am I Cuban or do I have Hispanic background? I don't. It's just my friends been calling me that since I was like 11, and it always stuck.
Oh, that's nice. So you carried it over into
Yes.
your fight career.
Yes.
Have you used any of your experience as a football player in your professional? Yeah.
Yes. So it's a double-edged sword, right? So I came into fighting knowing that I was more athletic, bigger, stronger, faster than most people, and that I took that, I used that as a basis of saying I could do this. But it was a little bit naive. I came into the game thinking I was going to be able to just run through people, and without technique, I had to learn. I was taught a lesson, man. So I lost like 4 in a row when I first started. Then I was able to get back on my bases and actually use my athleticism as a tool and not my main focus as it comes to fighting.
How has martial arts helped you in life?
It's humbled me greatly. When you're a football player, you're the biggest, strongest guy around. Like you're used to being the alpha everywhere you go. When I step foot on an MMA mat, or the BJJ gym, man, I think I got matched up with a brown belt that was 130 pounds, and I'm 280 at least. I'm thinking I'm finna throw this guy around the room, and he choked me out 6 times in one round. And yeah, from that point on, I was very humble. This sport will humble you, man. Like that's one thing that it will do.
So, and where are you currently training, and who manages you?
So I don't have management right now, but I'm currently training in Atlanta. When I get my next fight book, we're looking at August with Lion Fights. I'm probably gonna go down to Florida and do part of my camp down there with Rashad Evans and Tyrone Spong, and try to up my game a little bit.
How do you balance your professional career and your personal life?
Man, that's a great question. It is the hardest thing to do as a fighter, right? Nobody really knows what it takes to be a fighter and what you have to go through, the sacrifices that you make. So yeah, it's been really, really hard balancing work life and personal life and the fighting life. Like it's very, very hard. Not just showing up to everything, but also your relationships. The people that are closest to you, suffer the most when you go through this because you have to be absent from them. You spend a lot of time in the gym and you spend a lot of time training, and just that absence, being absent from your relationships really takes a toll on you, and it starts to affect everything else around.
So you sacrifice a lot, just one training, and then when you're in your fight camp, it's an added level of sacrifice that you're doing.
Yes.
Now, what happens after the fight? Because now you're dealing. Well, I really don't know. I'm just assuming that people deal with you haven't really been around, and now you need time for me and all that stuff, without understanding that you just went through all that, but then you also still need a little bit of time to kind of like recover from it.
Yes. So, especially after a loss, that is very, very hard because you're absent and those people don't understand what you're doing, like you were saying, but they probably don't really want you to do this. And if you lose, they try to talk you out of it. Like, why are you going back to that? Why are you still doing that? Like, you just lost, you got embarrassed. Why are you still doing it? And it's a hard thing to fight off, to keep fighting. It takes a special individual to have a couple of losses and be able to bounce back from those losses. That's a different breed of human for me. Like that's a different level.
So how do you do it? What is your mindset to get through it, to separate all that negativity? Because a fighter really can't afford to have any type of negativity in their life without it affecting their performance.
Man, you have to have the ability to put things in different places. Like when you walk through the gym doors, you have to leave everything that's going on outside of the gym at the door. And it's the same going back into the real world. When you step back into your house, you have to leave all the struggles and everything that's going on in the gym in the gym. That's the only way I've been able to deal with it, right? Just by putting things in their places. I can't take a tough training day home and expect everybody at home to understand what I was going through and why I'm upset and everything like that. Like, so you have to have very, very good compartmentalizing. Like, you have to excuse me, you have to put things in their places pretty much.
When you experience a loss, how do you handle it? As you know, as you're walking out of the cage, you're walking out of the ring, how are you handling it mentally, physically, emotionally?
In the beginning, when you first lose, and and they announce that the other guy is the winner, there's an initial pain, like, but you want to show respect to your the guy that you just fought, so you show him great respect, and then after that, you get back to the locker room, you talk to your coaches, and y'all don't really your coaches aren't going to really tell you what you did wrong right then. It's just that moment of losing that really bothers you. Then you transition into watching the film. When you watch the film, you probably didn't do as bad as you think you did, and it's some minor mistakes that you can go back and finish. So it's basically just being able to rationalize what actually happened in the fight, and what you did wrong, and what mistakes you can correct and come back and be better. That's the approach I've been taking. So when I have a loss, all my losses wasn't really on the other guy. Most of them were me. So most of the time, it's going to be a mistake that you made that you knew you shouldn't have made, that you can correct easily. That's what kept me going. That's what kept me getting back in there, because it wasn't my opponents that were better than me. It wasn't like I didn't deserve to be there. It was I was making small mental mistakes, and they could be corrected very easily.
What are words that help you stay in the right mind frame coming from your corner after a loss or a draw, or just anything that really helps you get through?
One of the main things my coaches tell me is remember your training partners. Remember who you train with, who you're in the gym with. The guy you're standing across from isn't those guys in your gym. Like, they're on a whole completely different level. And so that's something that they tell me that I'm easily that helps me keep going after the round. Like, yeah, this guy, it might be a tough round, but my coach would tell me, remember, man, that's not Douglas Lima, man. That's not Bigfoot Silver. That's not Junior Sagano. Like that. Like, I've been in there with some killers in the training room. So when I get into a fight, they just remind me of that, and it helps me keep going forward.
And what is something that you do not want to hear after something like that?
After a tough round, I don't want to hear, man, hey, man, you got to show me something, man. We might have to throw the towel in. I never want to hear that. I never want to be in that position where I'm so tired or so done that my coaches are thinking about throwing the towel in.
Have you ever been in a fight where you realize that, you know what, I really think I need a new team, because you realize?
So I've been with the same team since I started, and I have had that thought. Honestly, I've had a lot of people approach me and say, "Yeah, man, you're training at the wrong place. You need to come train here," or something like that. Like, from people in Florida to California to New Mexico, like, some of the bigger gyms have approached me and say, "We need you here. Come train here. I got what you need." But I'm pretty loyal to my coaches, and they've stuck with me through a lot, man. Like, they've been with me through a lot. They helped me through a lot of different things. So I've been pretty loyal to my gym. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. The important part is that not just that you're loyal to your gym, but that you understand their value, their intentions, because some people are loyal to their corners, their teammates, but it's not the same. It doesn't go both ways.
Right.
And they stay with the wrong people, but at least you know that you're with the right team and they're helping you grow as time goes by. They're not minimizing you, belittling you because of a situation that happens. And, you know, it takes the right mindset to know the difference between someone who's looking for your best interest and the other person who's looking for their best interest.
Their best interest, right.
Because if they're calling you and reaching out to you, all these other teams, oh, you will do good, or you will, you know, for my team. Okay,
Yes.
so they're basically, they want you to help their team get where they need to be. They're not looking for you to keep growing and excelling and doing better. So that's important for other people to understand and realize that.
So I've visited a couple of gyms and cross trained. Most of the time in those gyms, it wasn't about me. That to get me out there, it would be, yeah, man, we're gonna help you out. We're gonna make you better. But when I get out there, it's mostly me sparring against their heavyweight that they're getting ready for something. They're using me as a body to help their guy get better. And most of the time, you know, I end up having a good sparring session and not getting any work for myself. You know, it's always just me helping someone else. So that's why I chose. I've been burnt like that a couple of times. That's why, like, I'm loyal to my gym and my people. We have a lot of high level people come through here as far as wrestlers, jiu-jitsu guys, and strikers. So you know, I spar with some of the best in the game, some of the best in the world, some of the greatest heavyweights to ever do it. So there's no need for me to go anywhere. I'm here.
That's good. When did you know that this was what you wanted to do? I mean, you went in to lose weight, and then 6 months later, you took a fight. But at one point, did you realize, like, yeah, this is exactly where I want to be now?
So walking to the ring, like when I was walking to the ring, so I had a lot of close friends from college and a lot of former football players come watch my first fight. So I only took one amateur fight. So I took one amateur fight and I invited everybody out. And when I was walking out to the ring, man, that feeling that you get when you step into the ring is unreplaceable, man. There is no, when that cage door closes, you can't get that feeling anywhere. I play football in front of 100,000 people, man, and like it doesn't feel the same at all. So that feeling, after getting that first W, I was addicted and I needed to get back in there. And I enjoy training as well. So I enjoy getting better, constantly working at the little things to make me better. And inside of the fight, I don't really enjoy the violence part of it. For me, it's the chess match, right? It's my skills versus yours. Like, I enjoy the little adjustments and being able to get better and better each round. So I enjoy that mental game of the fighting aspect.
And that's pretty important to have that, because if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to make it through the next few steps, because you have to already know, if this is happening, then this, I got to do this, I got to do that. Because you never know what's happening in the game.
Right.
You never know. It's him or it's you.
Yes.
So you have to have. And you know what? The thing is, like, sometimes you go in there with, this is my game plan, this is how I'm going to execute this fight, and it's not going to go at all. It's like, what just happened? Like, okay, new game.
Exactly. I've had that happen to me a couple of times too. You get in there expecting the game plan to go this way, and he fights a completely different way, and you have to make an adjustment. Being present in the moment, you have to be present in the moment, because your coaches are giving you instructions that are different from the beginning. And if you're not there, if you're not playing the chess game, man, you're not going to make those adjustments. You're going to second guess everything. You're probably not going to make it out of the next round.
Yeah, it's important to stay in the zone and make sure that you're listening to the right voice.
Yes.
Have you, like, I sometimes wonder if you get distracted, like, because you're listening to your corner, but you can also hear the other one telling you, or not telling you, telling the other opponent what they need to do. So it's kind of like, wait a minute, am I going to listen to my corner, or am I going to do what this other guy's telling him to do? So do I avoid that?
Yes, it's very hard to do that, right? Especially when you're on their side of the ring, when you're on the side of his side of the ring, and you're listening to their instructions, and they studied you, and they know what you're about to do before you even do it, and they're calling it out, like, and you want to switch up. That moment of hesitation to cost you a fight, man. And you really have to have selectional hearing and only hear your coaches. When you're in the ring, you don't hear the crowd at all. You don't hear you hear the referee and you hear the two corners. No, you can't hear anything outside of that. But yeah, you really do have to have selective hearing.
Okay. Now you fought during the pandemic. Did you feel that particular fight camp was more focused on your training compared to your previous fights that was not during a pandemic?
During the pandemic, man, that was rough. Gyms were closed here. So your training you had to pretty much get creative with your training, because like here we couldn't even open up our gyms. So we would have to go to the park and train outside. There wasn't as many bodies. You did get my conditioning was much better because I got a lot of focus just strictly on me, and I couldn't do a lot of sparring because there wasn't a lot of sparring partners. But yeah, it had its ups and downs. You did get a lot more focus, and your cardio probably would be pretty good, but you didn't get the sparring that you needed because we couldn't get in the gyms.
And do you feel that the sparring was okay? Just how important is the sparring aspect? Because I know some people feel that you should spar, but you shouldn't go all out because you don't want to get injured for your fight. And then you have fighters that completely go all out during sparring, but then when they're in the fight, they don't go all out. So
I think it's a balance. And it's different from stand-up and MMA, right? In MMA, if you have more of a grappling base, sparring isn't great that big of a deal for you, because you have your game plan and you grapple. If you can ground and pound the bag, you can do basic drilling, you're pretty good. When it comes to striking, though, man, your timing is everything. Your defense is everything. So without sparring, you don't have to spar hard, but you definitely need to have punches coming at you so you can be sharp. So it's one thing being in shape, then it's a completely different thing being sharp. Being sharp means every counter I see it. Like every time you touch me, I'm returning. And you can't get that without high rounds of sparring. You can probably simulate it in pad work, but you won't be able to get to the normal level that you're usually at with sparring. I don't know how Max Holloway was able to do it. Like he made that popular. I don't know how he was able to do that, man.
Did this fight camp add any additional stress to the normal fight camps that you have?
No, it took a lot of stress off because everybody was in place. It wasn't, you didn't have to stretch yourself out, be over here and over there. It was the gym and back home. Like it was just really basic. And when you got back home, everybody else was there. And the only thing that was really stressful was making sure you didn't test positive. Like that, to go through a full fight camp and test positive at the end and not be able to fight is devastating to a fighter, because you spend a lot of money and you did a lot of time in the gym getting conditioned, and to have that taken away from you for a test, and most of the time you're probably asymptomatic, probably not feeling any of it. That's a devastating thing to have.
How are you? The world's changed so much in the past year, and now that everything's opening it back up, right? We got the green light. Now, has this stress added back on? Because now it's not like an isolated, okay, we're going to do this. Now I can focus on this. So the people that are actually there training with you are focused because, they have a fight, or they know that they're helping you prepare for a fight. So it's strict, it's strict. It's more directed versus having everybody in a gym all at the same time, running around, running here, running there.
I think it's been I think it's been a little bit more refreshing because everybody got to take a break and come back with a new mindset, a new attitude, and everybody's so enthusiastic about being in the gym that they're giving their all just about on every rep. It's not, before that people could get burned out. Now everybody's had a break. When everybody's coming back, that means coaches, pad holders, and training partners. Everybody's been refreshed, so everything is there, and everybody's amped up to a whole nother level. So the training has been great. Everybody's excited to compete again, and everybody's just looking to get back where they was.
What fight style do you prefer? Do you prefer to be doing boxing, Muay Thai, MMA? Is there something else, another style I don't know of?
So to be completely honest with you, I don't really care.
Okay.
I would love to sign with one FC. That way I can do Muay Thai in the small glove, Muay Thai in the big gloves, MMA. They have boxing as well. They have kickboxing rules. So it really doesn't matter to me the discipline or what style of fight it is. I can be prepared for all of it. I'm one of the best strikers on the planet, and I have some of the best grappling coaches around me at all times, so I can get ready to fight anybody with a full count. Anything stand up, I can take it on short notice and it'll be fine. But when MMA, I just need a full count to get back to grappling.
How do you switch mentally for each style?
So I practice each style daily. Like my striking coach, he makes us do straight boxing, straight kickboxing. Then we do Muay Thai straight clinch. So if we do it every day throughout the whole training session for about 2 hours straight. And he might call out every sparring round, he calls out a different discipline or a different thing. He might tell me just the left side of your body, just the jab and your left kick, or just the right side, or just kicks versus the other person just boxing. So I've been trained to be able to adapt to just about anything at any given moment. So and I spend a lot of time doing boxing sparring too. So like during my fight camp, to get hard sparring, I go to boxing because those guys they spar really really hard, and they're really good at boxing. So you're gonna have to bring your A game in there, and it feels like regular sparring session feels like a real fight when you step into a boxing ring.
Yeah, I've always wondered how the fighters who have different styles, they do the boxing, they do the Muay Thai, and they do the MMA, how they're able to switch it off. Like you go into a match and you go into a ring, but now you're doing boxing, so you can't do elbows, you can't do knees, you can't do that. So it's like, oh, okay. Or then you go into Muay Thai, and then, I mean, do you forget? Oh, this is Muay Thai. I can do elbows and I can do knees, and you know what I mean? So I do it. I say it because of me. Because when I'm training, I don't even know which way I'm going.
So like we train that way a lot here. But in my last fight against Joe Strickland, in that fight, he came out, he did a little boxing, a couple of leg kicks, and I was like, okay, I'm thinking kickboxing, which I'm more used to doing more kickboxing. He hit me with an elbow and he cut me, and I was like, oh wow, we are throwing elbows. I forgot all about that. So let me start throwing elbows back, and I was able to cut him back. But it did. That's the only time it's ever affected me in a fight or a sparring session. That's the first time it's ever happened. And it's because I think it's because you don't really get to throw elbows in sparring much, and you don't really defend them because we don't. We have pads, but you don't want to hurt anybody with an elbow. You can't really throw an elbow lightly. So we just don't throw them. And when he hit me with one, I was like, "Oh wow, we are throwing elbows." Fortunately, he had already cut me, and it was it was the first round, so I ended up bleeding out for 5 rounds. So yeah.
Wow, it was a wake up call.
Yes, it was a wake up. Yes, we're throwing elbows. Yes. I've been practicing them ever since, though. So I've mastered elbows now. So yeah.
You see, and that's the best part of it. Not that you got elbows, but that you always learn from your fights. It doesn't matter. You know what? You could even win a fight and you still learn something from that fight.
Yes, I've learned from my wins and my losses. I've learned more from my wins sometimes because I get out of the ring disappointed, especially in MMA. If I got 2 submissions, so if I get a submission, I'm kind of disappointed because that's not what I set out to do when I come in there. I came in there to outstrike you, and I end up getting a submission. I won, yes. Everybody likes the W, but that wasn't my game plan. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I should have did this more. I should have kept my distance more. I shouldn't have been as aggressive, and I wouldn't have to go to the ground and resort to a BJJ or wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen MMA fighters who do Muay Thai, and they completely forget. Like they totally forget they can use it, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like do something. Like you know what I mean? It's like do it, and then they don't do it, and then it's like, so you could have finished that round, finished a fight a long time ago, but they forgot that they can use it. So like sometimes I'm always wondering, like, do they just not want to, or?
I think it's a combination of things. Like, so if you used to doing Muay Thai and you got good Muay Thai, but your game plan is to come out and grapple and put them against the cage and score takedowns, and that's what you've been working on your entire camp. And walking to the cage, that's what your coaches are telling you the game plan is. You're kind of your brain's kind of shut everything off, and this is the game plan. I'm going to stick to it. But when that doesn't work and you have to rely back on your striking, sometimes it's a step slow, and because that wasn't in the forefront of your mind. So for me, it's been the opposite, right? Like I bounce it between MMA and Muay Thai. So if you have or kickboxing, if you have a stand-up fight, like 3 stand-up fights and 1 MMA fight, when you get to that MMA fight, you're going to be really aggressive in spots that you can't be aggressive in. Meaning you're going to throw the right hand hard in the pocket, and they're just going to shoot and take you down. Like you can't strike the same way in MMA that you can in kickboxing, and that is a big thing to worry about when you're doing two sports. Not so much I can't take you down in kickboxing, but more so MMA. MMA is the hardest out of all of them because the distance is different. The threats are different. You never know what tools the other guys added to his game. The film isn't always accurate, but in pretty much kickboxing and boxing, and most stand-up things, the guy who you're fighting is the same guy that's on the tape. But MMA is just so many different approaches to the fight, man. Like that's why I really love it, man. I really love MMA because it's such a challenge, and I don't think any like striker other than Izzy, like what he's been able to do is amazing, man. Like you can watch his progression from kickboxing to MMA. When he first got into kickboxing, he struggled with his striking because there's certain things that you just cannot do. You can't be aggressive the way you would want to because you're going to get taken down. And to watch him evolve to where he can keep his distance and still be the same striker that he was in Glory in the MMA ring, man, that the octagon is crazy, man. Like that's what we're all shooting for as strikers. That's transitioning into MMA.
Has your family ever discouraged you to?
Oh yeah. Family, friends, girlfriends, everybody. Like because when you take losses in MMA, and especially in the heavyweight division, and you come home lumped up and you have scars and stitches and stuff like that, nobody wants to see their loved one go through that. Yeah. So they all want you to just go do something safe. Let's go sit behind a desk and use a laptop or something like that and be safe. But they all know that I'm just once I get into something, it's kind of hard to get me out of it. I don't care how many times I lose because I understand that losing is a step to learning. Like you have to fail your way to success a lot of times, and especially in MMA, there's no such thing as an undefeated fighter for real. Like Khabib and those guys are on that level because they're on that level. Like you don't really see too many undefeated fighters in MMA or kickboxing or Muay Thai. Like it's just most of those guys be like 110-7 or something like that. So yeah.
What do people say about heavyweights?
It's dangerous, man. Like skill isn't skill isn't a big requirement in this division because power makes up for skill a lot of times. You have to be able to stay safe and you have to be able to pull the trigger. But man, power, a guy can mistake and just close his eyes and throw a punch and knock you out. Like it happens here. The heavyweight division is unpredictable too, because like you could be way better than the other guy and you slip and fall and get into side control. Man, the heavyweight this isn't 45ers, man. Like the normal way that you would get up is totally different in the heavyweight division, man. You can't just move 265 pounds with one arm like you can a 145. Man. So yeah, it's a dangerous game, man, and that's why people always think because of our size we come out slow and we start slow. It's like that because you can't make a mistake. One punch and the fight is over. It's really that serious, and so I think heavyweight fighting is more dangerous than just about every other weight class.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of people, I mean, because let's be honest, there are some people who fight heavyweight and they look like they shouldn't be fighting.
Yes.
But in reality, when the doors close or when they get into that ring, they show that, oh, wow, they actually still have it. And it's like, it's kind of like they demand respect.
You better, like it's not skill. It's just that what's just the weight of your punch. Like we're above 210 pounds most of the time. Like everybody's above like 220, 230, like 265. So it's like one punch, man, that ends the fight. And it doesn't even have to hit you flushly. Like it could just end the fight. Then you in the ring with somebody who has freakish power like Ngannou. Like he can hit you from the other side of the ring and it looked like a light punch and you're out. Like the heavyweight division is very, very dangerous and deserves a lot of respect. I know a lot of lighter guys don't really respect the heavyweight division because of the skill set. A lot of guys don't have the high level of skill. I particularly do have the high level of skill when it comes to striking, but it doesn't really mean you're going to win every time because there's just so many different paths to win for heavyweights. We can lay on you and make you tired or catch you with one big punch or whatever the case may be in that situation.
Yeah, I feel like the heavyweights, they have like the pro heavyweights have like hidden like gems. Yes. You know what I mean? Because they walk in there, you know, like I said, the doors are shut, they go through the ring, but people see the exterior and they don't see that they may not have all the skills everybody else, but they have skills because there's a reason why they're there. You know what I mean? So it's like they're not just going to tell you, yeah, come on and fight. Unless you have a death wish. I mean, that's about it.
Right.
You know, let's be real. And real shows, big promotions are not going to allow just anybody to represent their promotion.
Yes.
You know, maybe smaller local promotions that are trying to get noticed and stuff, and maybe, but these professional heavyweights aren't being as noticed as they should be.
Right.
You know, so I think you got to be cautious. I went to this one show and it was a heavyweight and I was like, oh my goodness. Like I didn't know. That was like the first time that I had actually seen a heavyweight where they were actually like trying to kill each other. Like this isn't one patty cake. This isn't, okay, I'm going to hit you. And then if you catch me, you hit me. No, they were going at it. Like at one point I'm like, do we have an umbrella? Because there was just a blood gushing from both men. And it was just like fire. I was just like, oh my gosh. You know, so by the time we ended the show, we were all covered in blood.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't like it was an accident. Oh, no, like these two, it was like a science. It was like like you said, they were playing chess. They knew exactly what was happening, when it was going to happen, how were they going to defend it. Like it wasn't like a guessing game. They knew exactly. And that's when, I mean, this was years ago, but that's when I realized like, oh, like these heavyweights are way more than what people see, because then, you know, you get all these videos on, you know, mainstream and whatnot, and they only put like
To
the
knock out.
heavyweights, but those little
Yeah.
clips will make it seem like, oh, ha, ha, look what they did, and it's like,
Right.
why don't you get in there
Right.
and let's see if you can do it, you
Right.
know? Because I don't like that they minimize the work
Yeah.
and the value of a heavyweight. Yes, there might be one or two that don't deserve to be there, but the majority of them, yeah, you need to respect them. You know, it's my little 2 cents on heavyweights.
Yes. My last fight with Joe Strickland, man, like we definitely put on a show for the heavyweight Muay Thai, man. Like a lot of people were saying that that's like the greatest heavyweight fight they ever saw. If you get a chance to check it out, it's on UFC Fight Pass. Joe Strickland versus Terrance Hodges. It was a hell of a fight, man. So you guys, if you get an opportunity, check it out, man. It's a great fight. It's a lot of blood, a high level skill set. It wasn't just two big guys swinging at each other. It was a great fight to watch.
Yeah, I saw the fight, and you guys, I mean, that's why I say, like, heavyweights demand respect, because you walk in there and you think that, oh, well, you know, they should look a certain way, or they should walk out a certain way. But then when they hear the bell and they say go,
yes,
that's when they're getting the green light to be like, okay, now you can display everything. And then you prove people wrong, because now you have all these people that are following you that just before that night had no clue. You know, so it's very important always to keep your skills sharp, always be ready, always be aware that you can use elbows.
Yes. I will be aware next time. Like I got to start to prove it. Like, yeah, that's not one of those things that tell you don't really learn a lesson until you get a scar from it. Yeah, I got to start to prove it. So yeah, next time I definitely know. And I didn't. It woke me up a lot, because I can do it in MMA. Elbows are legal in MMA as well, but people just really don't throw them that much. But yeah, I was definitely woke. That was my first time ever being in an elbow fight, and I did pretty well in it. So yeah, I've been training it really, really hard. So next time you see me, you're gonna see a lot of elbows, and along with great boxing, along with great Muay Thai and kickboxing as well.
That's awesome. Is there any advice that you would like to share with the amateur fighters that obviously want to become professionals?
Yes. Study as much as you can. Your coaches are only going to be able to help you get to a certain point. They're only going to be able to teach you what they know. But we live in a world of information, man. That YouTube teach you how to do everything. I'm not saying that you could be great just by simply using YouTube, but you can add on to your game constantly by using YouTube and learning new skills, probably from the other side of the world that you probably would never be exposed to. These things, and it's easy to do, and it keeps a fire lit up under you, and it's always giving you something to work on in the gym constantly. Like I do it often. Like my last fight, I fought Joe Strickland. Right, when I would advance forward explosively, because I'm a really explosive fighter, when I was advanced forward, he would step back into a left-handed stance, and the distance would make me miss. And during the fight, I couldn't see it at all. I could not understand how I was missing. I went back and watched the film, and I was looking on YouTube to see somebody else who did it, and they do it a lot in London. There's a lot of guys over there that use this technique, and I was able to find it and implement it into my game and make it my own. So I was able to add another chapter to my skill set. But yeah, definitely, man, to the amateurs, stay studying the sport. Stay in the gym and stay studying the sport, man. You're always gonna be able to learn something new and pick up something from somebody else just by watching.
Okay. And now what about to the professionals who had an amazing amateur career and now are struggling in their professional career?
Study the film, man. Like most of the time it's a mental hurdle. If you were good in amateurs, you're probably going to be good in the pros as well. But there was a mental hurdle that's blocking you from taking that next step. I know in my situation was I lost my first fight. I won the fight, but the judges said I lost that fight, and that was my first loss, and it put like a stigma in my mind. Like, man, I walked to the ring every time like, man, I can't lose this fight. I can't lose this fight. The next fight I got out there, I was winning the fight, got caught with a punch, and the fight was over. So the next time I go out there, it's like, oh man, I get caught with that punch again. Man, I can't get beat this way again. I can't be embarrassed in front of people. It's definitely a mindset. It's more mental than everything. You have to really focus on the mental side of the game and be able to control your thoughts, walking to the cage and in training as well. Because most of the time it's not your talent. Like if you were good in the amateurs, you're good as a pro. It's all mental, and once you approach the mental side the correct way, you'll be able to get right back on track.
Awesome. Is there anything that you would like to add before we conclude with this interview?
Just like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Strikers Only, my gym and my coaches and all my training partners and all the fans out there who've been supporting me along the way. It's definitely been a journey so far. I'm at an all new level right now, and the next time you see me, you're going to see a completely different fighter. You're going to see the best striker on the planet. And I will be getting back to everyone with a date for my next fight. I'm thinking it's August. It's probably going to be August with Lion Fights. And I'll definitely be there to put on a show. And I just thank all of you for supporting me.
Awesome. Well, if you will be fighting for Lion Fight in August, then I will be meeting you in person. I will be there.
Great. I will definitely put on a show for you.
Awesome. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.